The Renaissance season, as we called the 2021 season, brought about the Renaissance Tour. We thought it was going to be a Renaissance season for college football because we thought a lot of what we missed about the game was going to return. And we were on the road. Late Kick was on the road every single week. And we ended up, I think, 16 weeks in a row, if you count the signing day shows and whatnot that we did too. So if you're watching on YouTube, there's a brief list up right now of all the games that we were at. And we went all across the country, traversed the entire country. Only thing we didn't get to do is we did not ever have a valid reason to go to the West Coast because there were no high-profile games on the Pacific Coast. And that includes Mountain West, that includes Pac-12. So we didn't get to check that box, but every other box we got to check. Think about the games we were at. Even week 3. You know, Auburn versus Penn State doesn't stand out to you now, but it certainly did at the time. It was a whiteout, and all the world was at Penn State's fingertips. That Arkansas A&M game in Dallas was a classic. OU Texas may be the best regular season game I saw. The good thing about college football is you get to the end of the year and you don't look at Texas as being anything special. But when I saw them in week 6 against OU in Dallas, that was the Red River shootout game, firstly, and I'd never seen one in person. And secondly, Texas was just a one-loss team. So they still had all their goals still in front of them. We got later in the season, went to Michigan State, saw them take down Michigan. Went to Michigan, saw them take down Ohio State. There were some big moments. I think we had 4 field stormings that we witnessed this year. So anyway, what I was doing all the while was I had the iJosh on me, a knockoff brand of the iPhone, of course. And I always try and shoot you guys as much footage as I can. If you follow me on Instagram and you're looking on Saturdays, you see I probably put anywhere between 20 and 40 pictures or videos behind the scenes up from the game I'm at. Well, out of those videos, there were some that really stood out even as we got to the end of the year. And so what I did over about the past month and a half is on Twitter, I've been putting up the iJosh Video of the Year nominees, and we whittled it down to, I think, a final 11, and I had you guys vote on it last night. I put them up. I said, we're doing this thing tonight. We're going to announce the iJosh Video of the Year winner, and we're going by votes. And we already had a good idea based on the traction these videos got. But what I wanted to do for the crowd here who hasn't seen the videos is let's just run through them. And I know some of you are listening on podcast. I'll describe what we're seeing here. But where we start, we're going to go chronologically. Where we started was September 4th. This was Georgia versus Clemson. This was the start of the season. It was in Charlotte. I was worried it was going to be 110 degrees. It really wasn't. And that was a defensive slugfest. Georgia ends up winning that thing, I think, 10-3. This is Kirby Smart afterwards. Now, what's noteworthy is he's running around, he's celebrating, he's waving that visor around, standing up on the bleachers. What we didn't know at the time was he was going to end the season the exact same way he started the season. Running around like a maniac, waving that visor in the air, and celebrating. And by the way, watch, if you're watching on YouTube, you follow him into the tunnel. He's hugging a player right now. Who's that waiting for him? Greg Sankey, SEC commissioner, waiting on him there. And then a lot of friends that I've made along the way in the world of media standing behind him. This is always fun to be able to see that post-game scene. So that was Kirby Smart. That was week 1. 2 weeks later, we are on the road in a place that I had never been able to go before. I had never been to a Penn State game, and this was the whiteout. This is Beaver Stadium at night. Auburn's in town. This is September 18th. This is as close to a pro wrestling entrance existing in college football, maybe this side of Lane Stadium in Virginia Tech as it gets. The pregame production staff and the in-game production staff at Penn State, they do a phenomenal job not only of making sure that they're creating an event, they're creating a spectacle, but what I love so much about my experience in Beaver Stadium, Jesse will attest because he went there, those folks are so aware that they're part of the show, and they are so aware that they have an active role in participating to create an environment. It's almost like they have a role like they're in a movie, and they acquiesce. Look at that. Talk about picturesque. That's real life. That's not in a studio. That actually exists. You know where you don't see that? You don't really see that on Sundays because there are no environments like that anywhere other than college football. So that was week 3. That was the whiteout. That was an incredible experience. We move on. October 9th, another first for me. The Red River Shootout in Dallas, noon kickoff. This is Caleb Williams taking over for Spencer Rattler, throwing it downfield. Marvin Mims is there. This is Oklahoma en route to erasing a 3-possession deficit and they're going to go on to win the Red River Shootout. Look at the celebration there. And you notice what else is beautiful? Aside from all the artillery there, what's beautiful is that blue sky. We're not playing under artificial light. We're playing under God's light. You know what else is beautiful? Look around. Do you see any luxury suites? Look at the Cotton Bowl. Where are all the luxury suites? They're not there. What an incredible environment. And Oklahoma, again, goes on to win in dramatic come-from-behind fashion. Xavier Worthy for Texas had another iJosh Video of the Year nominee right after that. Look at it. We're rolling it right now. So Texas, they're getting blanked until true freshman Xavier Worthy steps up. He went off in this game. Had, I think, over 250 yards receiving. That's a true freshman. He's coming back this year, folks. And so we had two of them right there from the Red River Shootout. That was a very memorable day. This right here, I think, was the best regular season game I saw this year. Again, the beauty of college football being doesn't always have to have playoff ramifications. Neither of these teams ended up making the playoff. Doesn't change the fact that it had two iJosh Video of the Year nominees. Then we go to Knoxville. This one's fun. A lot of you thought this was going to win. We'll see if it won in just a second. Lane Kiffin, after a surreal, bizarre, incredible game, they end up beating Tennessee, do the Ole Miss Rebels, in Neyland. Watch for the bottle throw. Watch for the bottle throw. Boom. Debris raining down on Lane Kiffin. And like Odell Beckham before him, he one-handed the bottle. Beckham did it with a football. Lane Kiffin did it, and then he chucks the visor for good measure into the stands. This is called heel tactics. To go back to pro wrestling for a second, this is how you carry yourself as a heel. You don't fight it. You don't try and make people like you. You wave to them. You catch the bottle, as only a heel would do. That is Kurt Hennig style, Mr. Perfect execution. And then, as they're yelling every form of profanity and obscenity at you, trust me, I was down there, I could hear it. You chuck them the visor, and then you throw up the deuces, and you leave. That was a memorable night for a lot of wrong reasons, but also a memorable night because a classic iJosh Video of the Year nominee was born from it. Then we're getting a little bit later into October. Let's go to October 30th. This is Michigan State beating Michigan. This actually ended up becoming a painting. Someone in or around East Lansing took Mark D'Antonio, who is the former Michigan State coach. He's just on the field there. He's watching the Spartans celebrate after they beat in-state rival Michigan. Look at him, keeping his distance. He is about 20, I would say 15 or 20 yards away from the majority of the players. Hands in the pockets there, windbreaker on. It was like 35 degrees that day, rainy, misty, and he's just watching the players. That is a great image. Again, so much so that it got turned into a painting. This was very memorable because, again, he didn't try and make himself the focal point of anything. He's standing off in the distance. Mel Tucker, all the players are celebrating. Going to have another video from this one in a second, but that image right there, that got turned into a painting. Mark D'Antonio in East Lansing as they take down Michigan. We had a second one. Within minutes of this video being shot, we had another iJosh Video of the Year nominee, and it's Paul Bunyan. Not only the trophy coming home to East Lansing, but with the Spartan helmet on. And so when you're in a situation like this, you just hold up the phone and you just follow the players because they're headed towards the student section. Again, I want you to look at the level of celebration, and I want you to remember this is not a playoff game. This is not January. This is not some nameless, lifeless NFL venue 1,000 miles away. That's East Lansing, Michigan. That's a Saturday afternoon in the fall. And when I tell you Saturday afternoons in the fall are what this sport is all about, look at that band, look at those students, look at those players, look at that wooden trophy, look at the helmet on it. That's what it's about. That's why I never support any kind of model that would dampen any of this whatsoever. Two classic moments there just from one game. We're not done. November 6th, what a change in the weather this was. From those conditions to 70 and sunny in College Station. This is Auburn at Texas A&M. The date was November 6th. Chamber of Commerce weather there in College Station. This is a view that a lot of you don't get to see, but since we do, I try and capture it. It is a very dizzying scene because it's during the Aggie War Hymn, normally happening during commercial breaks, so you don't get to see it on TV. That is about 105 to 110,000 people swaying to the left and right, arm in arm. And if you were to look up at it from the field, it makes you very, very dizzy. Some people would get sick looking at that. It would give you motion sickness. And everyone is chanting the same thing. Now, again, from the outside, rival fans look at this and they would label this cult behavior. Aggie fans would say, if you're not in it, it won't make sense to you, but once you're in it, you can't imagine any other way. This was a classic afternoon because, again, the weather was great, got a little late season base tan, but also a home game in College Station, a home game at Kyle Field, I still think is the most underrated experience in college football, because when people talk about the best home environments, a lot of them skip over Kyle Field, and they shouldn't. Look at that place. That's insanity. It's just a random Saturday in the fall. We'll come back to that one in just a second. We move on to November 13th. We're in Waco, Texas. Blown tire and all the day before. We're in Waco. This is Dennis Dodd and I doing post-game work on CBS. And the reason why I mentioned that we're doing work for CBS is because the fine folks over at Fox Sports took it upon themselves to take the pregame set, you know, the one the likes of Brady Quinn would be sitting on, and they just bombed us back there. And if it's not intentional, it should have been. Look at that. And I see every bit of it. I got my eyes cut over there, but being the industry professional that I am, I don't break character. And believe me, if I'm wearing a polo, I'm in character, because you see how I dress when I get to choose my own wardrobe. That was another great day because that was Baylor upsetting Oklahoma. It was another field storming. That was our third field storming of the year. Notice the blue skies. Notice the fact that the game's already over and it's 3:30 in the afternoon. What I love about Fox is the afternoon kickoffs, the noon kickoffs. What I love less about Fox, but still no ill will, but you know, there are other times that you could push your stage down the sideline. Doesn't have to be in a 5-minute post-game hit. Luckily, it did end up producing an iJosh Video of the Year nominee and copious shout-outs to a network that I don't work for. Moving right along, two more here. Oh, it gets serious in a hurry. November 27th, Cade McNamara looks downfield to Cornelius Johnson. Michigan, the catch inside the 5-yard line, sets up a 1st and goal. Michigan's going to punch it in. Michigan's going to go on to beat Ohio State, but that's not what makes this a Video of the Year nominee. It's a snow throw. Cornelius Johnson hits the ground at the 3. He slides about 10 yards into the end zone. That is a classic snow throw situation. Now, the same time this was happening, Jesse's Penn State Nittany Lions were up the road in East Lansing, and it was a pure white out there. We got the front end of the snow when we were in Ann Arbor. They got inundated with it in East Lansing. But this was where I was at. And so this is a Video of the Year nominee, because how many times do you have to watch a guy slide 10 to 15 yards after a catch for it to get old? Answer, there is no limit. That's Lindsay Lohan in Mean Girls. The limit does not exist. That was a beautiful situation there. So that was one video from that afternoon. But then at halftime, what happened? What happened is I get up the tunnel early, A, because I'm freezing, B, because I know there's food up there, and C, because there is a shared tunnel at Michigan Stadium. Kind of like the Cotton Bowl with OU in Texas. Now, nothing happened at OU Texas, but I always know in these older stadiums, if we're sharing the same tunnel, then that means both teams have to walk up the same tunnel. And if both teams are walking up the same tunnel, and they hate each other at a cellular level, it always means there's a chance that something could happen. So I went up the tunnel early, and here come the teams, and I got the iJosh there in one hand. I think I had a hot dog in the other hand. Never put the hot dog down, by the way. But Ohio State came up the tunnel first, and then Michigan comes up the tunnel, and this breaks out. So again, your boy, hot dog in the left hand, iJosh in the right hand. I just hit record, and I rolled on it, and we got somebody going Stone Cold Steve Austin, double bird there, and we've got staffers in the middle. What is great and poignant about this moment, as these two teams border on fisticuffs, as Meemaw would say, in the tunnel outside the locker rooms, is the refs are blowing the whistles. You know, the shame of it all, that those guys didn't break it up once the whistles got blown. No flags were thrown in the tunnel. But here's what was great about it. I just mentioned Fox a second ago. This is another Fox game. They had to hit your boy up for the footage because they didn't have a camera up the tunnel. I was happy to oblige. I didn't charge them. Like in storm chasing, a lot of times when we shoot video of tornadoes and all the news agencies ask for the footage and people say, make them pay you. I'm good. I'm good. As you can tell, I live well within my means. I don't need $50 for a video. So we gave the video to Fox and every other person who asked for it. But this was not seen on TV. See, you guys are at break. You guys are watching studio halftime coverage, or you're making yourself a sandwich, or you're watching another game. This is why you always position yourself up those shared tunnels. Look at that, both of those teams in that tight, confined space. And remember, after this happened, I stopped rolling, but Harbaugh got into it pretty animated with one of the officials because he was trying to talk about how it was a 50-50 deal. It was both teams. And Harbaugh saying, no, it wasn't. They're not even in their locker room when they're supposed to be. I wish I would have shot that. I didn't. So those are the 11 iJosh Video of the Year finalists. Now, if you're just watching on YouTube, what would you guess? What would you vote for as being the video of the year there? Because I put it up to you guys. I put it up to a vote. I have my choice, and my choice is not the choice that won. So just like the theme music on this show, my wishes were not granted because your wishes were, you just went another direction. I don't know what else to say. I didn't expect you to go the direction you went. The winner of the iJosh Video of the Year was the game from November 6th. It was Auburn at Texas A&M. It's nothing complex. It's as simple as the Aggie war hymn, and it's as simple as this scene. Colin, you can full screen it and turn the volume up for a second if you want to. Look at that sea of humanity, though. Now, I know that upset some of you because you saw the borderline fight in the tunnel. You saw Lane Kiffin one hand the Dasani bottle, maybe Aquafina, I don't know. I don't want to play favorites. But that's what won. And you know why it won? Because Texas A&M fans in some ways resemble a social media army. And when they set their minds to doing something, like winning an iJosh Video of the Year poll, they do it. And so congratulations, gig 'em, our folks out in College Station and beyond, Texas A&M, the Video of the Year. I would send you a chalice of supremacy. I don't really know that Jimbo wants it right now. I don't know any one of you well enough. Well, I do know a few of you. I don't know which one of you I would send the chalice to. But congratulations, Texas A&M. That was a really, really fun deal. We will only enhance that experience this upcoming year.